Teacher, father, I'm back? When Xiao Yan's words, seemingly indifferent yet filled with deep affection, echoed through the air, the bodies of Yao Lao and the others couldn't help but tremble. Xiao Yan's sudden appearance filled them with both shock and joy. Xiao Yan had been away for 6 years, in a world beyond the Doqi continent. They had no idea what he had experienced out there, but one thing was certain. Those experiences were beyond their imagination. Previously, they had worried that Xiao Yan might disappear like the ancient Doqi experts, never to return. But now, his sudden reappearance had finally put their minds at ease. It's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. Xiao Zhan spoke with some emotion. Xiao Yan was his most proud son. As long as Xiao Yan was safe, he had no other desires. Xiao Yan, why are you the only one here? At this moment, Yao Lao noticed something strange. Why was Xiao Yan the only one in front of them? Where were Xun'er, Kailin, and Gu Yuan, Zhu Kuan? Teacher, the reason I returned to the Doqi continent was because of some urgent matters. Xiao Yan replied to Yao Lao's question. Xun'er and the others are still in the Great Thousand Worlds, and Senior Gu Yuan is in the primordial ancient dragon clan within the Great Thousand Worlds. You can rest assured. When Xiao Yan mentioned the primordial ancient dragon clan on the ruins continent of the Great Thousand Worlds, he paused for a moment. He realized that simply stating it like this might sound strange to everyone in front of him. The Great Thousand Worlds? Is that the world you went to? Xiao Chun stepped forward and asked. Let me ask, Elder Zhuli interjected. You mentioned the primordial ancient dragon clan in the Great Thousand Worlds. Do other worlds also have a primordial ancient dragon clan? Everyone, if I were to explain everything to you directly, it would be quite complicated and troublesome, Xiao Yan said with a helpless expression, noticing the string of questions in their minds. He knew it would be hard to explain that the Doqi continent was just a small fragment of the original Doqi continent. Not to mention how much effort it would take to explain. Even if they understood, their worldview would likely be shattered. Moreover, he would need to explain that the original Doqi continent was merely one of thousands of lower worlds in a lower dimension ocean. Even though it was one of the top 10 super lower dimensions, it would still shatter their already crumbling worldview. And then, he would have to explain that the entire lower dimension world was only one of the 3 great worlds, alongside the Great Thousand Worlds and the extraterritorial worlds. By the time that was all clear, their worldview wouldn't just be shattered, it would completely evaporate. This kind of shock would be terrifying for them. There are some things you will definitely learn soon, so I won't explain them in detail, Xiao Yan said. It seems you've witnessed quite a few shocking things in that so-called Great Thousand Worlds, Yao Lao said to Xiao Yan. But that's good. The Doqi continent can't hold you back. If you go further, I'm happy for you. Father, I'm just here for a quick visit. I'll have to leave again soon. However, if you want to know something, let me tell you this. In about 6 or 7 days, the entire structure of the Doqi continent will change completely. When that happens, no matter how shocking the changes are, we can only accept them peacefully, Xiao Yan said. I believe in you, son. Xiao Zhan smiled at Xiao Yan. When do you plan to leave again? Yao Lao asked. In a few minutes, Xiao Yan replied. So soon? Hearing this, Yao Lao and the others were momentarily stunned. But they understood that Xiao Yan must have something very important to attend to. Yes, this matter involves hundreds of worlds similar to the Doqi continent, and it's related to the disappearance of countless Doqi experts from ancient times, Xiao Yan said, knowing that this was all he could reveal for now. Hundreds of worlds? There are hundreds of worlds beyond the Doqi continent. Yao Lao and the others were stunned. They exchanged glances, clearly overwhelmed. But Xiao Yan hadn't yet told them that these hundreds of worlds had once been a unified great world tens of thousands of years ago. By the way, have you seen Xiao Sun and the others? Xiao Zhan asked. Father, actually, when I leave the Doqi continent this time, I plan to take Xiao Sun with me, Xiao Yan replied. Are you going to the Great Thousand Worlds? Anywhere is fine. I just want her to see further and know more. In the end, it's not to harm her, Xiao Yan said. He knew that he had changed compared to before. After all, as a father, every parent wants their daughter to go further in life. But before that, they need to understand where they stand. They must realize that while this fragmented world might be where they were born, it is not enough to cultivate them into true powerhouses. This fragmented world of the Do-Chi continent is far too small for powerhouses above the Do-Di level. With that, Xiao Yan's figure vanished from the spot. Meanwhile, hundreds of miles away, golden mystic thunder and the dazzling imperial flame rampaged through the sky. Below the horizon, two figures were engaged in a fierce battle, Xiao Lin and Lei Mo. Since both had revealed their 7-star Do Sheng strength, they had once again fallen into a situation of equal footing. However, those with a keen eye could see that although Xiao Lin and Lei Mo were equally matched in battle, Xiao Lin was clearly in a better condition, while Lei Mo had started showing signs of exhaustion. If this continued, Xiao Lin would remain undefeated, but Lei Mo's fate was uncertain. Boom! Lei Mo's gaze turned to the horizon, where a terrifying 9-colored storm was sweeping across the sky. The overwhelming pressure of the heavens and earth radiated from it, far surpassing the peak of a 9-star Do Sheng, reaching a level on par with the entire world. You two siblings have really hidden yourselves well. Xiao Xiao has actually reached the Do-Di level, Lei Mo said, staring at Xiao Xiao in the distance. His voice was heavy with disbelief. Xiao Xiao's breakthrough to Do-Di was a huge shock to him, causing him to doubt whether he could surpass this sibling pair. But I'm curious. Normally, when someone breaks through to Do-Di, it triggers a change in the heavens and earth. Since Xiao Xiao has reached Do-Di, why hasn't there been any reaction from the world? Lei Mo asked. Indeed, breaking through to Do-Di in this world should cause a change in the heavens and earth, Xiao Lin said with a faint smile. But what if one doesn't break through completely within this world? You mean, opening up a space? Lei Mo was stunned. Even if it's in an open space, wouldn't it still trigger a heavenly change outside? But the change would be much weaker, Xiao Lin replied. Upon hearing Xiao Lin's explanation, Lei Mo finally understood why the outside world hadn't noticed Xiao Xiao's breakthrough to Do-Di. If Xiao Xiao had advanced to Do-Di in a separate, open space, although it would still cause some degree of heavenly change, that change would be greatly diminished outside, and people might mistake it for a breakthrough to the late 9-star Do Sheng stage. Suddenly, Lei Mo seemed to realize something terrifying. He stared at Xiao Lin in horror. Could it be that this guy also broke through to Do-Di? Don't worry, Xiao Lin said with a smile, seeing through Lei Mo's thoughts. I was born more than 10 years after my sister, and I'm still far from reaching Do-Di. Ah. Although Xiao Lin said this, Lei Mo had already lost all fighting spirit. He sighed in resignation. He now truly understood the gap between him and Xiao Lin. If Xiao Xiao could break through to Do-Di at this age, then Xiao Lin, as her younger brother, must not be far behind in talent. I lost, Lei Mo said in a dejected tone. He then waved his hand, pulling back all the thunder Do-Chi that had once surged through the world. He looked at Xiao Lin. Though their battle had yet to be decided, his intuition told him that Xiao Lin's real strength was definitely not limited to the early 7-star Do Sheng. If Xiao Lin had reached 8-star Do Sheng, he wouldn't have needed to use the Imperial Flame to counter Lei Mo's 9 profound Golden Thunder earlier. But in the end, it was still Lei Mo who had lost. I know some things about the Lei clan. For the past 1,000 years, your talent has been unmatched. I believe that with your grand ambitions, you will eventually revive the Lei clan to its former glory, Xiao Lin said to Lei Mo with a calm smile. I lost. So there's no need for you to find excuses for me, Lei Mo snorted coldly at Xiao Lin's words. He raised his hand to recall the 9 profound golden thunder. Swish. However, just as Lei Mo gestured, a brilliant light suddenly erupted in the sky. Just as the 9 profound golden thunder began to fall beyond Lei Mo's control, Xiao Lin on the opposite side also changed his expression. He felt that the connection between the Imperial Flame and himself, high above in the sky, was suddenly severed. This unexpected turn of events shocked Xiao Lin. He quickly raised his head to look upward, and like him, Lei Mo also looked towards the sky. What they saw elicited two very different reactions. Lei Mo was horrified, while Xiao Lin was overjoyed. In the sky, thousands of feet above, the massive 9 profound golden thunder ceased its violent movements. Its golden dragon-like eyes stared at a figure in black robes standing before it. This was a man, and on his palm, the Imperial Flame, once capable of incinerating everything, now floated gently, like a soft kitten, rising slowly. The imperial flame had always been under the man's control. The 9 profound golden thunder blinked. The figure before it brought back the first memory it had when it gained sentience, and this person was the first being it saw after it acquired intelligence. That moment was unforgettable. On the thunder pool, this man helped it survive the tribulation and become the first lightning with consciousness in the world. Now, the 9 profound golden thunder acted like an obedient child. It lowered its head toward the man, who reached out a hand to gently pat its head. 9 profound golden thunder, long time no see, Xiao Yan said with a faint smile, looking at the 9 profound golden thunder spirit, now 10 times stronger than when he had first seen it. Meanwhile, thousands of miles away, in the place where the 9-colored radiance spread, the 3 figures facing off, Yan Lianlian and Zhu Yan, had long lost the will to fight. They knew they couldn't defeat Xiao Zhao, who had become a Do-Di powerhouse. However, at that moment, Zhu Yan and Yan Lianlian were stunned. They realized that Xiao Zhao's gaze was no longer on them. It wasn't that he was looking down on them. Rather, he seemed to have spotted something more important than them. They saw Xiao Zhao, the Do-Di powerhouse, shudder slightly, his gaze fixed on the direction of the sky where Mo and Xiao Lin's battle was taking place. In Xiao Zhao's eyes, a familiar figure's appearance caused even her calm expression to visibly shift. The next moment, without a word, she left Zhu Yan and Yan Lianlian behind and rushed off at lightning speed. The speed was pushed to its limits, and with it came a voice filled with longing. The word she uttered, though only one, caused Zhu Yan and Yan Lianlian's hearts to tremble. Dad! Dad! The vast land of the Xiao clan echoed with Xiao Zhao's words, which pierced through space and the skies from a valley. The excitement in her voice caused the whole world to freeze. Xiao Zhao had intentionally amplified her voice. Upon seeing Xiao Yan, her first reaction was joy, and the next thing she wanted to do was spread the news to the entire Xiao clan, the heavenly mansion, and the entire Do-Chi continent. Although her words were just one, they announced something to the entire Do-Chi continent. The Flame Emperor, Xiao Yan, had returned. In a city within the Xiao clan's territory, several figures rushed out. They were Xiao Li, Xiao Ding, Xiao Yu, and others. Big brother, that voice? It sounded like Xiao Zhao. Could it be? Xiao Yan has returned? Xiao Li asked, gazing at the distant sky in shock. It was definitely Xiao Zhao's voice. Let's go, Xiao Ding replied, also looking at the distant sky. He didn't know about the challenges from the Lei clan, Yin clan, and the primordial ancient dragon clan to Xiao Zhao and Xiao Lin. Yeah, if Xiao Yan has returned, that would be wonderful, Xiao Yu said excitedly. Let's go. It's a few thousand miles away. We should get there in a few dozen minutes. Let's go. With that, Xiao Ding was the first to move, rushing toward the sky. His speed reached its peak, and Xiao Li and the others quickly followed. With their Do-Di bloodlines, their cultivation talents had greatly improved, and Xiao Ding, as the eldest brother, had reached the peak of Do-Zun, on the verge of the half-saint stage. His future was promising. Thousands of miles away, on a city wall in the heavenly mansion, a graceful figure slowly descended. She wore a pale red dress, her beautiful eyes gazing at the Xiao clan's territory. The next moment, she shot forward, her figure appearing at 1,000 feet in an instant. Master, you've finally returned, the woman said softly, her gaze fixed on the Xiao clan's land. In the following few moments, Xiao Zhao's voice finally spread across every region, echoing throughout the entire Do-Chi continent. This single sentence sent a shockwave through the entire continent, almost sparking a rebellion. Hundreds of thousands of miles away from the Central Plains, in the Jiama Empire, high above the holy city, 3 figures floated in the air. These were Jia Xingtian, Hai Buodong, and Gu He. At this moment, their gazes were fixed on the distant Central Plains, the direction where the Xiao clan was located. What a loud voice. It sounds like Xiao Xiao. Although her voice has changed a bit as she's grown up, I can still recognize it, Jia Xingtian said. Isn't Xiao Zhao's father Xiao Yan? Hai Buodong asked, momentarily stunned. You mean, Xiao Yan has returned? Didn't he go to another world? Gu He replied, then sighed. He knew that although he had reached the Xun'er realm and had become one of the top-tier 7th-grade alchemists, he was now worlds apart from Xiao Yan. It wasn't just a difference between heaven and earth, but more like the difference between the entire sky and a single grain of sand on the ground. Whoosh, whoosh. As Broaden and the others were gazing into the distance toward the central plains, several breaking sounds echoed from the air behind them. A figure, whose strength was only at the peak of Do Huang, swept through the air toward them. Behind her were 2 guards whose strength had reached the peak of Do Xun. This woman was one of the most famous figures in the entire northwest region of the Do-Chi continent, known as the Enchantress. Her name was Yifei. She currently controlled one of the largest auction houses on the continent, the Tianyin Auction House, which ranked among the top 10 in the Do-Chi continent. Miss Yifei, I heard you're usually quite busy. What brings you here today? Broaden said with a slight smile as he saw Yifei approaching. Sea Sovereign, could you 3, along with my 2 Do Xun guards, set up a spatial teleportation array for me? I need to go to the central plains, and money is no object, Yifei said as she approached. The reason she came to them was that, within thousands of miles of this area, only Broaden and his companions, 3 powerful Do Xun experts, were capable of setting up a teleportation array that could reach the central plains. As for the title, Sea Sovereign, it was the respectful way people in the entire northwest region now addressed Broaden. Do you really think that voice just now was from Xiao Yan returning? Broaden asked. I would never mistake Xiao Zhao's voice, Yifei replied. Since that's the case, we were just about to head to the central plains as well. Let's go together, Broaden said, signaling to Jia Xingtian and Gu He. The 3 of them, along with Yifei's 2 Do Xun guards, immediately began setting up the spatial teleportation array on the spot. As the 6 of them prepared to head to the central plains, in a medicine shop in Wutan City, a woman dressed in white had already set off. Outside her shop, a commotion was taking place. Where's the fairy? I was waiting for her to treat my broken bone. Treat your broken bone? You mean you want her to give you a massage? Quick, look for her. The fairy's gone. At the edge of the Do-Chi continent, atop a mountain in the primordial ancient dragon clan's world, a man with a long spear on his back stood facing the wind. He gazed toward the distant central plains, then flipped his palm. A flask of strong liquor appeared, and after taking a large drink, he tossed the flask into the air. The liquor shimmered in the sunlight as it splashed through the sky. Ha, Flame Emperor Xiao Yan, with your abilities, you should be able to see me. I, Lu Qing, am here. A toast to you. Meanwhile, within the world of the primordial ancient dragon clan on the edge of the Do-Chi continent, a woman dressed in a purple golden robe slowly walked out. She was the current leader of the clan, Ziyin. Congratulations, clan leader, for reaching the Do-Di realm. Long live the clan leader. May the clan prosper under your reign. Ziyan's appearance caused a cheer to erupt from the entire Dragon Island. The millions of citizens knelt in reverence, offering the highest honor to their ruler. I'm leaving the clan for a while. If anything happens, handle it yourselves, Ziyin said, not even glancing at the kneeling citizens. She spoke coldly, and before anyone could react, her figure disappeared into the air, leaving behind a dazed crowd. At the same time, in the Xiao clan's territory in the eastern central plains, Xiao Yan stood in midair, gently stroking the 9 profound golden thunder in his hand. The imperial flame on his right hand was absorbed into his body. Xiao Yan looked toward the horizon, where a figure was crossing the sky, coming toward him. It was Xiao. Father, you're back. The first to arrive was definitely Xiao Lin, who rushed to Xiao Yan's side, smiling. Heh, you little brat. You didn't slack off in your training while I was away, did you? Dad, I want to slack off, but my older sister won't let me, Xiao Lin said. He was born with the Do-Di bloodline, which made him stronger than Xiao Zhao when she was born, reaching the level of a 1-star Dosheng. Later, when he was 7, his strength skyrocketed dramatically after Xun'er broke through to the Do-Di level. Unlike Xiao Zhao, who was around 12 or 13 when her father, Xiao Yan, broke through to the Do-Di level. At that age, her physical development was far ahead of Xiao Lin, who was only 6 or 7. This allowed her to advance to 8-star Dosheng. Xiao Lin's own power boost at the age of 6 or 7 only brought him to 4-star Dosheng. Before turning 20, just like Xiao Zhao, Xiao Lin spent his time refining this newfound strength. Normally, refining the power of a 4-star Dosheng wouldn't take more than 10 years, but since Xiao Lin was so young, he only fully refined it by the time he was 20. Xiao Yan looked at Xiao Lin and nodded with satisfaction. When he left the Doqi continent, Xiao Lin was 21. By then, Xiao Lin had already reached the peak of 4-star Dosheng, and during the 6 years that Xiao Yan had been away, Xiao Lin's progress hadn't slowed down. Now, he was only one step away from reaching 8-star Dosheng. Buzz. Just as Xiao Yan was feeling somewhat satisfied with Xiao Lin's progress, the space in front of him twisted. Then, Xiao Zhao's figure appeared. "Daddy, you're finally back," Xiao Zhao said as she stepped out from the twisted space. She grabbed Xiao Yan's hand and spoke obediently. In the past, she had always carried herself arrogantly in front of others, but now, Xiao Yan's presence made her become docile. "You little girl, I know you've been causing trouble for your grandpa and the others," Xiao Yan said as he hugged her like a father would, then flicked her forehead with his finger. "Don't think I don't know. You haven't even touched a pill furnace in the past few years." For Xiao Yan, who now controlled the dimension embryo, there was nothing on the Doqi continent that he didn't know about. Why do you scold me as soon as you come back?" Xiao Zhao put her hands on her hips and said confidently, "I need to clarify 2 things. First, you said I caused trouble outside. That's just slander against Dad. I couldn't help but teach that person a lesson. But only my younger brother knows about it, and I did it in a remote place." "Then you killed him?" Xiao Yan asked in a doubtful tone. At this, Xiao Zhao trembled. She was curious how her father knew about this. "What about the second thing you wanted to clarify?" Xiao Yan asked. "Dad, I don't like alchemy." Xiao Zhao said directly without hesitation. "I know you're a master alchemist and you need a successor, but I really don't like it." "Dad, wouldn't it be better if Sister Yuquan became your successor? She's much better than me. The only 2nd-grade medicinal pill I can make. She taught me." Xiao Zhao stuck out her little tongue as she spoke. "How dare you say that?" Xiao Yan said with a helpless expression. After so many years of making pills, this was the first time he heard about someone with Do D strength making a 2nd-grade medicinal pill. Xiao Yan suspected that although it was a 2nd-grade pill, the energy contained in it was enough to kill anyone below Dosheng. This might just be the strongest 2nd-grade pill in history. Without the strength of a Dosheng, no one would dare to consume it. "But I really don't like making pills," Xiao Zhao said, starting to act spoiled. She pointed to Xiao Lin and said, "Dad, why don't you put your hopes on my brother? He almost succeeded in making a 6-star medicinal pill last time." Sigh. Xiao Yan sighed helplessly. "All right, I won't force you anymore. Just focus on your cultivation." What Xiao Zhao said made Xiao Yan completely give up on the idea of having his children inherit his alchemy skills. Even if Xiao Lin had really almost succeeded in making a 6-star medicinal pill, Xiao Yan couldn't consider him a hope. After all, attempting to make a 6-star pill at the level of a 7-star Dosheng was a rather bizarre thing to do, even if successful. Of course, it was still a little more normal than Xiao Zhao making a 2nd-grade pill. Xiao Yan had decided not to push his children down a path they didn't like. After all, a forced effort often leads to failure, so he preferred to let things take their natural course. "Dad, where are Mom and Sister Kailin?" Xiao Lin asked. "They're in the Great Thousand Worlds. I'll take you there later, but I have some important matters to attend to first," Xiao Yan said, turning to Xiao Zhao. "Father is the best to me." Hearing Xiao Yan's words, Xiao Zhao joyfully stepped forward and hugged him again. She had already grown tired of staying in this Doqi continent. "Father, what about me?" Xiao Yan only mentioned taking Xiao Zhao with him, and Xiao Lin immediately asked, "I'll prepare some things for you. After you reach the 8-star Do Saint, or perhaps when you reach the heavenly realm of the Great Thousand Worlds, you'll face the 3 minor tribulation stage," Xiao Yan explained. 3 minor tribulation? What's that? Xiao Lin asked. "You'll understand in time." "That's all for now," Xiao Yan replied. He then flicked his finger, and the space in front of him twisted. A black portal formed, not a normal space passage, but a dimensional portal leading outside the Doqi continent. "Father, elderly, Elder Ding, ain't you? And the others haven't seen you yet. Are you leaving already? Xiao Yan asked. Heh, meeting them will happen eventually. There's no rush, Xiao Yan said as he gently pulled the excited Xiao Zhao along and slowly stepped into the dimensional portal. Sis, tell me about the interesting things you see outside when you get back, Xiao Yan said with a smile as he watched Xiao Yan and Xiao Zhao vanish into the portal. Soon, under Xiao Yan's watch, the figures of Xiao Yan and Xiao Zhao completely disappeared into the dimensional passage, and the black portal began to shrink. Hum. As the dimensional portal vanished, figures began to appear behind Xiao Yan. They were Elder Yao and the others, who had come from 1,000 miles away. On the other side, two women appeared. One was dressed in pale pink robes, Yun Quan, a registered disciple of Xiao Yan, whom he had taken in during his time in the Central Plains. Now, after years of guidance from Xiao Yan and her own research, she had become a true 9th-grade alchemist, capable of refining 9th-grade mysterious pills. The other woman wore a purple gold robe and was the leader of the primordial ancient dragon clan, Ziyan. Hum. Another two figures emerged from the space distortions. One was the little fairy doctor, who had traveled all the way from Wutan City to get here, and the other was the second elder of the Gu clan, Gu Qingyang, who had come from the distant Gu clan's lands. The group arrived to find that the aura of Xiao Yan had already faded from this space. They all knew they had arrived too late. Where is Xiao Yan? Little fairy doctor asked, looking at Xiao Yan, who resembled Xiao Yan. Has master already left? Yun Quan asked. This guy never stays for long, Ziyan snorted. She knew that Xiao Yan's quick departure wasn't because he didn't want to meet them, but because if they met, he'd probably be detained for dozens of minutes answering questions. Xiao Yan's swift departure could only mean that he had important matters to attend to. I have a feeling that Xiao Yan is doing something terrifying, something on a scale that may already exceed the Doqi continent, Gu Qingyang said. He knew that Xiao Yan had become increasingly untouchable,